Hi, I'm Esther Livingston. I'm the internship director, and I'm going to run through this internship agreement with you so you'll understand what it is you are signing. Let me share my screen with you and we will get started. This is required of every intern, and it says right here in the first paragraph that this agreement is between Berea College and a Berea College student named below. So that's you who's participating in a summer internship, either in person or remotely. And the purpose of the agreement is to clarify and identify the responsibilities of both parties as they relate to the internship experience. Okay, so as we go through this, pay attention. If you have questions, jot those down so you can ask me about them later. And if you don't have any questions, then when you're finished, you can go straight to the DocuSign form and you'll be asked to initial each one of the statements and sign at the end. And you can have a copy of it yourself and it'll come automatically to me. So that's what we are doing this for. I want you to make sure you know what you're agreeing to. So this says that both parties acknowledge and agree and understand the following. You can see where my cursor is right there. The student must complete an internship planning form and an experience request in Handshake, and that's based on the offer that you received from the organization. And you must then obtain approval to get credit through your department, your faculty sponsor, your department chair. And if you're an international student, it's also the international student advisor and my office. So there is a process that you are probably fully aware of. Then the third paragraph says if the student is requesting financial assistance in the form of an internship grant, you have to request that through my office and understand that not all internships are eligible for funding. If it's, it has to be unpaid, first of all, and then you could obtain funding. But decisions regarding eligibility and the amount you receive, those decisions are made by the Office of Internships, and those arrangements fall outside of this agreement. So that's something that's separate. Then there's a few bullets here that you are a part of the what you understand is that you can choose to participate in person, remote, or hybrid internship. And if it's in person or a hybrid internship where you're only there part-time in person, those are only approved if the organization states that they are meeting requirements or industry-specific requirements that are recommended by the CDC for health and safety during the pandemic. And that includes the things you would expect: social distancing, face coverings, sanitation of work areas, and requiring interns or employees to quarantine if they've had a positive COVID test or have had close contact with COVID positive person. The second bullet is a copy of this agreement, and the internship planning form will be emailed to your site supervisor at the organization. And that's just for their informational purposes, so they know what you are doing, that you're receiving credit for this, and that you'll be doing assignments outside of your work hours for credit. Then the third bullet says that internship planning form identifies and provides contact information for all the parties involved, for you, for the organization, your supervisor, your faculty sponsor, and my office. Then the fourth bullet says that you understand that as an intern, you're not an employee of the organization or the college. You don't have employee status. And you're not entitled to compensation or any kind of employee benefits that employees normally would be, like workers' compensation or unemployment compensation, or anything else that's normally covered by laws regulating rights of employees, because you are not an employee, okay? And then the last bullet there says the student is representing to the college and to the organization that you're able to do this, that you're able to travel, live, and work independently during the full term of the internship, subject to any restrictions that you disclose in writing to both my office and to the organization. Okay. Then there are some additional things. Those are all just foundational. And then there's some specific things that you're agreeing to. And in the DocuSign form, you'll be asked to initial on each of these little lines, blank spots. So you are also agreeing to perform the work at the internship site and the academic assignments that are described in your plan in the planning form to the best of your ability and to the satisfaction of your supervisor at the site and the faculty sponsor. You're also agreeing in B to follow all their rules, their procedures, policies of the organization, and you will be particularly mindful of those that are related to confidentiality. This is a professional position. You need to be very aware how important that is. I just can't emphasize it enough. Then C, you're agreeing to obtain the organization's written approval before you post anything on social media regarding the organization or your internship. References to the culture there, or the operations, other employees, and certainly their clients and customers. You don't put anything on your social media about those without permission. And we love it if you do post and say, if you're having a good experience, that you're loving my internship, working here, but you ask them before you do that. And most of them will say that's fine. But then the second part of this says, if that's part of your job, because a lot of people as an intern, part of their job is to make social media posts for the organization. So if that's the case, you are agreeing that you're only going to post on their social media and with their approval. Okay, so that's very important to understand that. In section D, you're agreeing to report promptly, to work, show up. And if you were sick or had an emergency, and that would include a positive COVID test or close contact. But then in those cases, you would notify the site supervisor, giving as much notice as is reasonably possible. And then if there's an extended absence, and we're talking about 3 consecutive days or more, that you'd let your faculty sponsor know and my office. Just email or call us and say, just want to let you know I'm sick, or, I've twisted my ankle, I can't walk, whatever it might be. Let us know. You must communicate that. And then section E says you're agreeing to follow safety precautions related to COVID-19, like we've mentioned, wearing face coverings. You'll follow these yourself, even if no one's making you, social distancing, quarantining, that you are agreeing to that. And then section F, that you fully accept the increased health risks during this time of pandemic, that are related to travel and housing and work. And that you release the college from any liability in this regard. It's just saying that you're choosing to do this, it is your choice, and you understand that there are some increased risk, as you've been very aware, with travel and housing and that sort of thing, and that you understand that's your responsibility to accept those. In section G, you're agreeing that you'll be responsible for your medical insurance while enrolled in the internship. You do have to have medical insurance, health insurance is what we're talking about, and many employers will ask that you provide proof of that. I shouldn't say many, some will require that you provide that. The college definitely requires it of you. For obvious reasons. We want you to be able to go to an urgent treatment center if you need to, if you that same thing, twist your ankle, that kind of thing, want to make sure it's not broken, ear infection, there's all kinds of reasons. And you need to have medical insurance while you're participating in the internship. One thing to be aware of is if you have an insurance plan that is through Medicaid, it only covers you in the state that issues that. So if you have Medicaid in Kentucky, but your internship is in North Carolina, you won't have insurance there. So we will need to add you to the college insurance policy just for the summer. And it costs around $100 to do that. And that cost is your responsibility. If you're receiving funding from us, you will have more than enough money to cover that. So just be aware of that as well. And let us know if you need to be added to the college policy. We can do that, but you must have insurance. Okay, let's move on. Section H. You also have to have auto insurance if you are driving a personal vehicle. And then you must also understand that you should never provide transportation for clients of the organization or employees for that matter in your personal vehicle. This sometimes happens, sometimes there are programs, that work with children and they want you to transport some, this group of children to some event or something. You can't do that in your personal vehicle. That's a huge liability to you. And of course, it's different if the organization has their own van and, they have insurance that covers you and the people on the van. So just make sure you understand that under no circumstances do you put them in your personal vehicle. Then also, let's see, where are we on section I? You grant permission for the college and the Office of Internship to basically talk about you, to use your name, your photo, maybe tell people what your major is and where you interned. And this is for informational and promotional purposes in written materials, in presentations, social media, and on our website. We don't do, this is not, huge amounts of this, but I do, and when I do presentations for other students to help them see the types of internships they might be interested in, I put together a slideshow that shows, what other students have done. And also when I report to donors who've provided funding for the internship program, I will talk about, these are some of the interns, that we had last year. So that's what we're referring to. And then also in section J, you're also granting permission for faculty and staff to access your academic and financial information pertaining to the internship. And that's referring to your planning form, the grade, the evaluations that you do, that kind of thing. And the financial information is the funding form that we'll do if you receive funding from us. Or even on your planning form, if the employer is paying you, it states how much. And that is only people on campus that need to know this. That's my office, maybe financial aid, some of the donors, offices, those kinds of things. That is it. And it is never any personal information like addresses, phone numbers, that kind of thing. Then K, the last one in this section, is you're providing contact information for the people you would want us to contact if there was an emergency. And since your organization will have a copy of this, they too will have a copy of your emergency contact. And that's important, in case we never want anything to come up, but sometimes it does, and we do need to be able to reach someone. So you will provide that information at the end of the DocuSign form. Under section 2, this has a lot to do with worst case scenarios in this section. And so let's go through this. In section A here, you're responsible for your decisions about living and travel arrangements, as well as any necessary medical treatment that you need. That could be ongoing therapies or prescriptions, that kind of thing. But it also includes treatment for COVID-19. You are responsible for that. You make your own housing arrangements. You decide how you're getting there. If you're flying, driving, taking a bus, whatever it is, these are your responsibility. You make those decisions. And then B, in the event, this is the worst case scenarios I was talking about. In the event emergency medical care became necessary and the student is unable to secure it, there could be a lot of reasons for that. One of them being that you're unconscious. That could be a reason, as well as others. But in a dire situation like that, the college may be notified, and a representative from College Life they're not obligated to, but they may secure medical treatment on your behalf. And that would be include surgery, administration of anesthesia, that sort of thing, if necessary. But in those circumstances, you are accepting and agreeing to be responsible for the costs of such treatment and care. And that really means your insurance and you are responsible for that cost. Neither the college nor its representatives are responsible for the availability of the care or the quality of the medical care in these cases. In section C here, it says neither Berea College, the Office of Internships, the organization, or any of their representatives are responsible for the costs of medical treatment incurred on your behalf. So if we arranged some medical treatment for you, we're not responsible for the payment of it. And even if we should pay something up front to get the treatment, that it is you in the end, where it says here that any where are we? In the event that the college or the organization or any of their representatives make an interim financial arrangement or advance on your behalf in consideration of medical treatment, that those arrangements or advance are not deemed as a waiver of this provision, that the student remains ultimately and primarily responsible for all costs of medical treatment. So we've said that multiple different ways, but it's your responsibility is what it comes down to, you and your insurance. And the student in D here, the student understands and agrees that they're solely responsible for costs arising from voluntarily or involuntarily withdrawing from the internship prior to its completion. And that could mean, you know, there's a lot of reasons for that. You could get really sick, or you could have a family emergency and you need to leave. That would be considered voluntary withdrawal. Or you might just quit for some reason, you know, that's voluntary withdrawal. We do not encourage you to quit. But then also involuntary withdrawal could mean, you know, the organization for some reason cannot continue the internship. And there's lots of possibilities there. You know, they could lose their funding, they could have a fire, there's all kinds of reasons. Or you could do something that makes them want to let you go. You know, they don't want you to come back. And so that's involuntary. And in either case, there could be some costs associated with that. If you've received funding from our office, you know, you may have to pay some of that back, depending on the, you know, the circumstances surrounding this. But all of this, it does include withdrawal caused by illness or disciplinary action by the college or the organization. In section E, it says that you understand you are subject, while you're on this internship, to the Berea College Student Code of Conduct. And you are also subject to discipline under the Student Judicial Code of the college. So just be aware of that. And in section F, the student understands and agrees that the internship is an exercise in independent living, internship activity, and study outside the regular programs and services of the college, and that it's been arranged by you or at your request. You've applied for something through the college perhaps. And the student understands that any extracurricular activities and travel that you engage in prior, during, or after the internship are not considered part of the internship. And those are done at your own risk and your own expense. And so what we're talking about that there, I use an example. So you're doing an internship in Southern California and you think, I'm going to learn to surf while I'm here. If you got hurt surfing, that is your risk and your responsibility. That is in no way related to the internship, okay? So just that's the kind of thing we're talking about. Anything you do prior, during, after internship are not part of the internship. And then item G, the student understands that the college and organization have no responsibility whatsoever for the student's personal conduct, health, or safety during the term of the internship, except as we've expressly set forth in this agreement. And that's important that you understand too. You ultimately are responsible for your behavior and for your safety and your health. We want you to be safe and we want you to be healthy, but you are the one who's responsible for that. And in the event right here that the internship is with an organization that is selected or arranged through the college, there's a few of those, like the students that do research at Vanderbilt Medical Center. Those are usually arranged through faculty. And then also the Shepherd internship program, we'll interview students for that. But what we agree to in those cases is that we exercise ordinary care in selection or arrangements. So we know those to be good organizations, and we've exercised ordinary care in those cases. But we have to disclaim any responsibility for the actions or conduct of the organization or people that are working with them. As far as we know, they're all fine, but we can't be responsible for them, and how they behave, of them or their clients. You might be working in some cases with clients who, have mental illness or some other, issues where we can't be liable for those situations, or might be working with some third party, and there's no liability on Berea's half in those cases. The college then agrees in number 3 to provide academic supervision of the internship course, have pre and post internship meetings with the students, evaluate the internship and the learning experience. And B, we agree to provide counsel in the event of any special problems that might arise, but you do have to disclose those problems. Let us know if something does come up. We absolutely will talk through that with you and help you, think about what you want to do, to how we want to handle that. And then C, we'll grant academic course credit for successful completion of the internship as described in your planning form. Then as we wind up here, this agreement and the internship planning form constitute the entire agreement and understanding between the college and the student with respect to the internship. The agreement shall be construed and governed according to the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And then you'll be asked to initial something that says you have listened to this recorded overview and that you understand and agree to the terms of it. So you'll be asked to initial that. Then you will have to type your name and then actually do a signature through DocuSign. We will do that as well. And you will be asked to provide your emergency contact information. And if you have more than one person that you would like us to contact, we are happy to do that, but just fill this out for one person and then email us with the other if you'd like to provide additional contacts for the case of emergencies. Okay, now I do want you, if you have any questions about this, to reach out to us before you sign it, okay? So that you are really informed and know what you're signing. And congratulations on your internship, and we will look forward to working with you through the rest of the process.